Hey guys, HANMEDITATIONS here, and I'm so excited to bring you guys a new meditation album.
Entranced to Serenity, streaming now on all platforms. See you there.
Thank you for watching the Han Podcast. In this episode, we're going to be discussing more past life, and we're also going to be talking about what you can do now to better yourself and help yourself progress and fly into the new year. It's a new time. And it's a time for success. It's a time for regulating our energies and our vibrations. And we're going to expand upon this in this podcast. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So we've been really exploring and getting into the past life information that's been coming through. And through this, more information has been just flowing in throughout the day, expanding this information, this chapters for books, different knowledge comes in. And the more that you act on this information, the more it's going to come in. So I usually like to start with a story. You want to start with your story, Kelly, of one of your past lives, or?
Yeah, sure. So thus far, I've seen 2 of my past lives. Well, I've seen a couple more, I think, under meditation, but as far as under the QHHT, I've seen 2 so far. So let's put it into story mode time. We like doing that before.
Oh,
like
yeah.
how Han did it. So there once was a girl. I kind of feel like her name was Lydia for some reason. Let's just say her name was Lydia. So Lydia was taking a little promenade, a little stroll at the park. She had on her fluffy gown.
This is not it.
I'm not good at it like you. I need to hear one of yours first so I can get into the flow.
Okay.
If I can do it.
Gosh. All right. So I'll say one of mine from my last session then.
Yeah.
All right. So there was once an infant child born into a chaotic and strange world. A world with negative vibrations, a different time, and a different place. During this time, this child, this infant being, was highly intelligent, able to fully understand the English language, able to fully understand complexities of the world around him. This child had a favorite toy, a spinning dreidel that would spin around and spin around. And as each spin spun, this child was able to think more about the world around him, about the inner workings, about the trauma that his parents had gone through, his aunts, his uncles, and the people around him. And during this time is when he was finally moved by the practitioner Kelly to another date, another time where something important had happened. And once this child moved, everything went dark. Everything went blank. The child, the house, the dreidel, the complexities of his world were no more. And in this world, in this time, everything was erased. This child had been exploded, destroyed by a bomb in World War II. In a different time, a different place in Europe, this Jewish child had been immediately destroyed. Once taken to the other side, I was able to learn from that experience and really understand, why was I brought into that life? Why was I shown that reality? And the reason was simple yet strange. I was shown that reality to know that at different periods in time, I would dip my toe into this human realm, into this earthly world, this plane of existence, to read the vibrations of humans at that time, to feel and get a feel for what's going on and what's happening in the world around us, knowing that at some point in time, I would be back to help and change the world for the better. But not this time. This time was just to see, just to know, and just to be.
So young Lydia was a lady.
You're not going to say what you thought about my story or anything? You're just going to go right into it?
Yeah, that was a really good way to put it. Really insightful. I don't think I'm going to make my story as good. That's why. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
It takes practice, I guess.
No, you've always been a good storyteller naturally. I need AI. I need to write in my rough story. I need to write in my rough draft and have AI.
Do you want me to tell your story? I mean, this is off the top of my head, folks. So this isn't like I'm writing it. I'm channeling
Okay, you tell my story.
It. All right, I'll try and remember everything because I don't remember it that well. But we'll see. So there was once a girl named Lydia, and there was once a girl named Kelly. Now, Kelly lay down for her QHHT session. And once she lay down, she was immediately transported to another time, another place, another country. And in this time, in this place, and in this country, she looked around, looking for any resemblance of anything familiar. Looking at herself, looking at others, she realized she was in a female body. A woman, a young woman, wearing a long, lavish dress. The people around her were wearing top hats, suits, dress clothes, and dresses similar to her own. And as she looked around, as she saw these people, she noticed there was something in her hand. An umbrella, but it wasn't raining. This was more for shade. This was more to show her wealth, her superiority over the working class, and that she didn't need to work. She was there to relax, there for leisurely activities. Is this the one where you noticed the path?
Mm-hmm.
And then where did that take you?
Well, first I was falling down like just towards the ocean. I was like, I don't know where I'm going with this one. And then you said just look around. I noticed there were like some cliffs, and then like I kind of transported to the cliffs, and then there was a path on the cliffs, like a long walking trail, and I was just all of a sudden walking on there, and I had the ruffly dress with all the layers, like very much likely 1800s, I would say. Okay. And I had tight brown curls, maybe about like...
All right, let me just say what I remember of the story.
In a clip.
And then you can correct me.
Okay.
As she looked around, she noticed she was on the beach of all places. And on this beach, there were plenty of people, and there was a pathway, a mysterious pathway, along with mountains and hills surrounding her. Is that wrong?
I mean, I don't remember any mountains or hills, but it wasn't on the beach. So it honestly was really, that's why at the time I kind of thought of bringing it up, because it was pretty much just like the path we always walked on in Bay. Okay. But like it seemed a little higher up, and like it seemed like you couldn't actually go down to the water, but it was just on the water, like the ocean probably.
Like on a cliff.
Yeah, on the cliff.
Oh, okay. Then she was fast forwarded in time to another important time, another important place. And she was getting ready to her surprise. There were maids around her, tightening up her corset, doing everything. They were rushing, they were moving, there was movement, there was conversation, and it was all for her important day, and when she was to be betrothed, to be married. But this is the beginning of it, where she was going to an event. to see her possible husband, to see the possibility of marriage, the possibility of a family, the possibility of a new life. And in this time, she allowed herself to be excited, to feel the love of the maids around her, to allow herself to just give her the opportunity to feel important just for this one day. And then she was fast forward again, and she was with her husband, now married, now together. And he was playing the piano and teaching her and talking to her. And he loved her very much, and she loved him in this moment. And they were together. Then she was asked how she gets around. She said horses. Then tears started to fall down her eyes, rolling down as she wept, saying how much she loved her horses, how much she cared for her horses. And in this moment, there was something different behind the look in her eyes, behind the tears that rolled down her face. Something had changed in that moment. It wasn't just love. It was something else, something we would find out very soon. She said she had 2 horses, one black, one white. And as she thought about her horses, as she thought about her marriage, she continued to cry, continued to get more distraught. Her answers were shorter. Her breath drew shorter. She grew a little uncomfortable. And so she was fast forwarded again to another place in another time that is very important in this life. And once she was fast forwarded, she saw it. Boom! The horse had struck her husband in his neck, breaking and shattering his spine. Instantly, the husband was dead. The dream of a family had died in that moment. The dream of a life with him had died in that moment. And tears began to fall in her eyes again. He's dead. He's not coming back. The horse killed him. And she saw her horse. She saw the man's body. And that was all for her to see in that scene. And then she was moved again to the last day of her life. She was laying on the bed with maids surrounding her, with workers surrounding her completely, doing everything they could for her. And she realized in that moment that all she had was the horses. There was no family. There were no kids. All she had to take care of were the horses. They were the only ones that loved her. She was the only ones that she could love, because no one wanted to remarry her after her husband had died that fatal death. No one wanted to marry a widow. So she lied there alone, dying in her bed, never being fulfilled with the hopes of a family, never being fulfilled with the hopes of a husband. She just wanted love. She just wanted something to take care of. And so the story ends of Lydia in the past life of Kelly.
Yeah, that was good. So, yeah, it felt like as for the hair, it was just like a neutral brunette brown, and I would wear in like really tight curls. If you can imagine those old style really tight curls, it wasn't too long, but not like super short. And then it felt like I had maybe like blue eyes, but when I was still in my first home, he asked what my father did, and it just came out like a clergyman. Like, I knew he was important, had wealth, but I didn't know much about clergymen. I was surprised for that to come out. But from what I have done a little bit of research, it definitely makes sense that those were 100% higher up people. And it's interesting because I'm really interested in these time periods, such as it was maybe like the Regency era, maybe Victorian, probably more like Regency or before that. But yeah, so that was interesting. It just came out of nowhere. And I kept seeing a man who was like, had just really black hair and a black mustache, always wearing like a top hat, suit. I'm not sure if that was my husband or my father, but that must have been one of them. And then
I think at first it was your father, and then it was your husband.
Okay.
Because you were mentioning your father
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning.
Yeah.
He was wealthy.
Yeah, he was a clergyman. And so he asked how I get around, and I said in a carriage. And he's like, is it 1 horses or 2? So he asked if it's 1 horses or 2, and I just instantly knew. I instantly saw it, and it was these 2 brown horses, like brown chestnut horses, and they had black hair, black manes and tails. And then I just started feeling this overwhelming love come over me, and I was just crying because I felt so much love for them. I was like, I don't know why, I just love them so much. But those were kind of the horses of our family, and when, you know, draw the carriages and get us around and everything. So I was picking up on another horse. I'm like, I see a white horse too. I'm not really sure what this is, but I see a white horse. So when we moved forward a bit and I got married, I definitely felt that, you know, because it was just so different in these days. And I felt like I definitely loved my husband, but it wasn't like so in love. It was kind of definitely more of those, you had to get married back then. And I definitely didn't mind him or anything. I definitely did like him. And I'm sure we would have grown a deeper love if we stayed together throughout our lives. But I definitely liked him, but I didn't feel like a huge, like, head over heels in love. Like I will die without him. Because when I saw the scene, I don't think I saw the scene there because it seemed just kind of blurry in the distance. Like I was just imagining what could have happened. But essentially, I just all of a sudden saw that his white horse, just something went wrong. That the horse got startled or something. And it seemed like he got off and was trying to like calm down the horse. But it ended up kind of just stampeding him. And he fell, and it kind of just was just like moving up and down, and it ended up landing on his neck, and he just died. And from that, so it was like, I was of course sad, but it wasn't like as sad as, I wasn't crying as much as like when I saw the 2 horses that I loved, because I also felt like it wasn't very far along in the marriage, maybe just a year or 2. So that happened. Then we finally just went ahead and moved to my last day of my life. And it's funny because, as you can see, this whole life surrounded by servants and maids, constantly getting taken care of for anything I want or need. But it's funny how you can feel so lonely even with having that. And I clearly had a maternal instinct in this life where that got old, and I actually wanted to have children and raise a family, and I wanted something to take care of. And I don't think widows really got married back in those days. At least no one wanted to marry my widow self. So that was it. I was just in the house alone the rest of my days, getting taken care of the maids, never to raise a family, never to have another husband, never to have anyone to take care of, which is what I had truly wanted. I was tired of getting taken care of constantly. I wanted to take care of something. And I realized at that last day that all I ever was really able to take care of was those horses from my original home. So I probably just spent a lot of time with them, brushed their manes, rode them, who knows. But those were the only real thing I ever was able to, a real being, I guess I was able to myself take care of. So it was pretty interesting because I've always been really interested in that time period. So of course, part of you, when your physical mind comes back in, it's like, oh wow, I just wanted to see a life that is something I like. But the thing is, it's kind of vice versa. It's kind of opposite because we're drawn to the things that we like because it does remind us of these lives. So when our physical mind comes in, we just got to tell it to shut up because this stuff is real. And just even the most random of things, like for me to say clergyman as my father's career, that's not something I even knew was like oh yeah, I know clergymen are high society in those days. Like still don't know exactly what they are. But afterwards I did my research and discovered that would definitely be a high ranking societal person in those days. So pretty interesting. You just really never know what kind of lessons you're going to pick up on in these lives.
Yeah, you never really know. And I like to start the podcast just doing a little bit of story time because we're still very new on the podcast. But the thing is, I like to do what I like. So I think what I like to hear that I would like to hear a story time in a podcast. I would like to get into it and just listen to it and, oh, that's nice, and go on. And it's very cool just experiencing, having these experiences together. We're able to talk about it and it gives us new content and interesting ideas. And it's just so fun to be a part of this whole journey. So if you guys ever wanted to schedule a past life regression with Kelly, you can do that now. She's on Dolores Cannon's website. So it's very awesome. And we can actually put the link in the description for the podcast. But
yeah.
So we're welcoming all new people to the podcast. So if you're new, welcome. And we're glad that you guys are here. Yes. So just keep sending it to your friends and keep sharing it because we love talking about awesome and cool information that if you're a spiritual person, if you believe in God, if you're religious, then it can correlate to your life.
Yeah, of course. And any feedback, any ideas, any topics you would like us to discuss, please feel free to share it. We are very much an open book, open community, and want to be talking about what you're interested in if you're listening to us. So thank you very much.
We're not done.
I know.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the things I did want to talk about was people have to understand that there's different opportunity windows that are opening up. So if something happens in your life that you may not want, you may think this is a bad thing, you have to understand that everything that happens is good because everything is about perception in the way that you perceive it. So if you perceive something as being negative, it's going to be negative. And if you perceive something as being positive, it's going to be positive. So you have to understand if something happens to you, it doesn't matter if it's health-wise, emotional-wise, it doesn't matter. There's an opportunity window for you to grow in that time span and in that length of time. And this means that you can grow up to 15 years in 2 years. You can grow, an extra 6 months in 1 day, depending how you react to these kind of situations. So there's different opportunity windows that are opened up at all times every single year in your life. And you have to be more aware of these opportunity windows and start thinking of it in that way. And when something happens to you, don't just say, why did this happen to me? Woe is me. Oh, da, 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 da. Start thinking in your brain, this is an opportunity window that was sent to me from God, and I must make him proud. So in this moment, I will make God proud by doing what I need to do because I have true faith and trust in God and that everything that happens is good. And I recognize that God is within me. And if God is within me, there's only perfection where God is and God is perfect, then I am a perfect being when I'm in that vibration, in that vibratory plane in which I realize the perfection that is within me. So that is why I did the meditation. I am all that I am, because once you say, I am all that I am, you feel a different type of vibration.
Yes, absolutely. And it also goes into just expanding your concept of yourself, because I am all that I am. It's automatically giving you a state of you deserve all that you deserve. You deserve to want the things that you want. And when it comes to imagining and manifesting and thinking about what we truly desire, what we want our life to look like, what we want ourselves to look like as a person roaming this earth, think about what you want, but think of it in this way. Think about it. Okay, well, number one, what would I want if absolutely nothing could go wrong? Because a lot of times we will start to imagine these great things, but then another thought will come in, and it's almost always fear-based or lack-based, which is, of course, goes along with fear-based, because it's either we feel that we don't deserve it, we feel that we can't get it, somewhere along the lines of a lack and of a fear. So what would happen if absolutely nothing could go wrong and if I could not mess it up?
People have to think in this way. A lot of people don't want what they deserve. Really allow that to really linger in your mind and really think it over. A lot of people do not want what they deserve because they have belief systems that are holding them back. Well, I deserve this, but guess what? I don't deserve it because I think I might have karma because I did this one thing this one time, and I believe that there's sin, and I believe that I did this wrong and I did that wrong, or I don't deserve it because I don't love myself enough. A lot of people have belief systems that are holding themselves back from getting what they deserve. And that's why I said, if you realize that you're a child of God, a son of God, if you realize that you're a part of God, God is within you, then of course you deserve everything that you could want. As long as it aligns with positivity and connectedness and bringing the light to the world, allowing other people to grow, then yes, you absolutely deserve it. So a lot of people are scared to get what they deserve. But if you can put yourself in a mental mind frame where you allow yourself to say, I absolutely deserve it and I want what I deserve and I'm going to get what I deserve because I desire it, with a fulfillment and with a mindset that is incapable of the average person to understand, because I will definitely get what I came to get and I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And if you have that mindset and if you have that totality of a mentality, then you will absolutely get whatever you want. Again, if you have the totality of that mentality, then you will absolutely get what you want and what you deserve. I just made that up. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Say it again.
If you have the totality of that mentality, then you will absolutely get what you deserve.
Absolutely. It's all about the totality, because these little negative things can't let them draw you back. Of course, if they pop in every now and again, that's okay. It's not going to just automatically, maybe you're headed towards the path of your dreams and you have a little thought pop in every now and again that you can't make it. That's not going to take you off track, because these types of desires, think about desire, that's a really strong feeling emotion. It's not just a want, it's desire. You can feel it inside your body. You feel it tingling almost. You feel that excitement stirring up.
Hell yeah.
So desire, we have that inside for a reason. I believe truly desire comes from God, because it is telling us what is aligned with our vibration. So, for example, go out shopping one day, go to the different stores, go look at items. Maybe it's even more expensive than what you would allow yourself to have in the past. Allow yourself to even desire, to even think about. Let go of all that. Just go shopping to the nicest mall around you, the nicest stores. Look at what's on the shelves and just see what lights you up when you see it, when you feel it, when you hold it, when you look at it, when you imagine yourself purchasing it, when you imagine yourself walking around with it. What lights you up? What makes you feel good? These things that really stand out when you're, for example, just shopping, that's a desire. It's standing out in your mind. You go home, you're still thinking about it. You start looking up information about it.
Because what that is doing is that's actually calculating the vibration and the frequencies. Mm-hmm. So whenever you go to these different stores, if you go to the Louis Vuitton store and you look at some new shoes like we did the other day, it's calculating, do I want this in my frequency? Not everybody wants a designer or something like that, something nice, but a lot of people do. Mm-hmm. So you have to go to these different places. Otherwise, how do you know if you want it or not?
Yep.
Go to these different stores, go to these different houses, go see a large mansion, go see a small apartment, go see all these different places, because each place that you go to is calculating your frequency and you're going to get what you deserve. I was talking to one of my friends the other day and she said, well, what if it's all in your mind? I said, you're absolutely right. It is all in your mind, because whether you think you can or you can't, you're right either way. I mean, there is no difference between me and you, except I know that I can and you can, but you think that you cannot. That is the only difference between you and me. I'm not a special individual. I just know that I can, and I have that desire within me that I'm going to get what I'm going to get no matter what, and nothing can stop me, because I have the faith and the power of God backing behind my eyes and in my body and in my soul and in my spirit. And whatever you believe, if you believe it with that totality of a mentality, as I said earlier, then you will absolutely get what you deserve and what you need in life.
Yeah, absolutely. And 100% shopping around or not shopping around, but looking around for places to live, for example. Like when people end up buying and moving into their home, they always say the same thing. If you ask them like, oh, what made you choose this one? It's always the same thing. It's, I just walked in and I just felt it. I just knew it was the one. Like it's always about a feeling. I mean, of course, sometimes it's a really calculated financial decision, as it should be. But it really comes down to that feeling, whether someone's really aligned with their spiritual vibration or not. It's just they walk into that house and they just feel that is their home. So even something like that, browsing around for places to live, even if you're not in the market to move, just go and see what aligns, because you will walk in those places and you will feel something immediately as you walk around and when you leave. And it will leave you with a feeling of, wow, this is aligned with inside of me. This is a real vibrational alignment because it felt good, it felt right, or it doesn't. It'll be almost like a repellent, like, nope, that's not it. And it's a very natural feeling. And how can we have these desires? Sometimes we'll walk into one, oh, wow, I love that, but I can't afford that. That's way too much for me. That's too much space. That's this and that. But how can God give you such a strong desire, but you're not meant to have it, but you're not deserving of it? That doesn't even make sense.
Exactly. So you have to, like I said, calculate it. Everything you do is being calculated. Your frequency is being calculated. And another thing that people don't realize is your attitude and your energy is being regulated by you at all times. You have to have the right attitude. If you find yourself getting in a negative attitude, you have to snap out of it, because that just means that you can't take enough. There are certain people that can take and they never have an attitude. They never get angry. They never snap. You have to be one of those people where you don't just have a mentality where if someone says the wrong thing to you, it's going to ruin your whole day. If one thing goes wrong, it's going to ruin your whole day. You have to snap out of that mentality and shift and change your mindset to realize that I am in charge of regulating my energy. I am in charge of regulating my frequency. I am in charge of regulating my attitude. And if something happens, I am choosing how I act and react to it. And once you have that totality of a mentality, everything will change around you completely and utterly, faster than you have ever realized and faster than you could ever comprehend. It can change instantly, but you have to change your attitude and your mentality and realize what you're doing in that moment. Hey, I shouldn't have said this, or they shouldn't have said that to me, but guess what? I'm still happy. Or, hey, guess what? I'm going to take a couple of deep breaths. I'm going to go meditate for a second and I'm good. I'm not going to let this ruin my day, because everybody has days where they get upset easily, or maybe they didn't get enough sleep, or maybe they just don't want to be played with that day. Everybody has those kinds of days, but it's all about regulating your frequency and your vibration. And the more that you're in a positive vibration, the more that the good things are going to come to you, and your frequency will continue to be attracted, and you'll keep seeing those angel numbers. You'll keep having that high vibratory energy where the right people come into your life in the perfect amount of time. The right situations will manifest in your life in the perfect amount of time.
A bad attitude will literally block love, light, and blessings from coming into your life. It is so true, because if we just go back to the basics of a law of attraction, your state of vibration, your state of being is put out into the universe, and what you are is what you're going to get back. And I see it all the time when I start getting into a little frustrated mood. Maybe I'm cooking or something and trying to do a million things at once. Not even a million things, but in my mind I start to feel like that, and I have to get this at this time, this at this time. Next thing you know, I start dropping things. Next thing you know, I start letting things get burnt. Next thing you know, I start forgetting about things. And
start spiraling.
Exactly. And that's just because you're in that state and the universe is saying, oh, you want a chaotic surroundings. You're putting off chaotic energy. Sure, we'll give it back to you. But at the same time, it's not like it's doom. It's because it's happening that quick, because it is that powerful, but it's happening that quick because it's telling you, hey, this is the path you're on. Look at this, look at this, look at this. If you want to switch it, switch it. It's telling you, it's a feedback. It's a perfect feedback loop.
Exactly.
That's the same with emotions. Emotions come up because it's telling you, hey, this is something you need to change. You're feeling angry because you need to change the way you are thinking. You're feeling sad because you need to change the way you are thinking. And that goes back to what Han was saying in the very beginning about emotion. Sometimes certain opportunities of windows will come open for you to grow. And it takes a lot of self-work. It takes a lot of practice. But something I've really been working on lately is, if you look at a certain situation that may seem bad, may seem horrible, may seem not right, but if you really look at it from an outside perspective and just a totally different concept of maybe even societal norms, for example, and if the only thing that makes it bad is because you'll stir up bad emotions in yourself, is it really bad? Because what if you had control of those emotions? What if you had such control of yourself and your vibration that absolutely nothing could make your emotions stir up? Because you feel so good about yourself, because you feel so good about life, because you know God is guiding you in everything. Then is that thing really bad?
And it all comes down to love. And if you're struggling with an attitude, there's a simple thing you can do. Just not have one. But realistically speaking, a lot of people, if it's scientifically proven, even if you're sad, if you force yourself to smile, it'll change your mood a little bit. So people need to realize, hey, guess what? You can extrapolate that out to anything. So next thing you know, if you're feeling sick, you force yourself to feel healthy, you're going to attract health. If you're angry, you force yourself to feel not angry, grateful, then guess what? You're going to be more grateful. Gratitude's going to come. You're going to get more situations in which where things come that you're grateful for. This is going to happen over and over again once this gets extrapolated out to your entire life. So use that in a way as a metaphor and a teaching tool to, I can force myself to smile even when I'm angry, even when I'm sad. I can force myself to feel healthy even if I don't feel good today. I can force myself to be motivated even if I'm not motivated. I can just do the work and I can tell myself I'm going to make, $10 million doing whatever I'm doing, and then you just do it.
Yeah.
And then that's going to attract you to that money vibration, that vibratory plane in which you have the money coming in, everything's flowing in perfect harmony and in perfect time.
Yeah, totally. I don't know if you've been seeing viewers or Han, like it's like a thing lately to say like girl math and stuff. Have you been seeing that?
No.
Okay, well, it's like I'm
not on that side of the internet.
I'm on the girl side. Some people are into memes and these things. I watch like very girl related content. So anyway, it's like a thing lately. We're talking about girl math. And I saw this one. It was like, oh, girl math is believing God gave me the desire to have a lot of nice things. So it means I'm meant to have a lot of nice things or something like that, which is kind of funny. But
I actually think
it's kind of true.
Something like that. Where I was like, what is this? I don't know if it said girl math, but it said something like, oh, girl math. And it said like, is going to the mall to buy a new outfit because they don't like the outfit they're in or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a new little trendy saying lately. But the thing is, it sounds so funny and ridiculous, but it's actually pretty much true, because there's plenty of people in the world who absolutely have no desire to live lavishly or have lavish things or whatever. And if that generally speaks to you, like you feel that you can imagine yourself making this purchase and it feels so good, so exciting. You can imagine yourself wearing it and you just feel elevated and higher vibration. There's no shame in that. Whatever makes you feel high vibration truly, that is a good thing. Unless it is a bad thing, but that's a different kind of vibration.
Yeah, it really just depends. I mean, I have a friend, he has a lot of money, but he just likes having the same stuff. He doesn't like going out and buying new things. He has the same bag he got from a thrift store 10 years ago and he wears it every day and he can get whatever he wants. Same car, everything. He just does not value material items like that. He likes to live a free life and not have a lot of cluster and a lot of material around him. And that is perfectly fine. People like different things. People are attracted to different things. That's why whenever you think in the form of abundance, you have to realize there's more than enough of everything out there, because not everybody likes the same thing. People think if everybody had $100 million, everybody would go buy a Lamborghini tomorrow. That's not the case at all. Nope. I'm sure it'd be a little harder to get one, but trust me, they can make more. There's never going to be a scarcity of anything. And obviously I'm saying that in a exaggerated way. Things can be scarce, but there's more than enough of everything. And guess what? If there's not enough of something, that's an opportunity for you, if you love that, to go out and start your own business and start making what there's a lack of. That's how billion-dollar businesses get started. You're creating a space and filling a void for something that the market wants.
Exactly. And, even with things like this, of course, there is a bit of a fine line, but it all comes down to knowing thyself and raising your vibration high enough that you are constantly putting off your true vibration. Meaning, as we always say, as we all know, keep up with your spiritual practices, keep up with your meditation, your journaling. You have to know yourself because, of course, sometimes you may think you want something, but it's really from a source of the music you're listening to, the shows you're watching. These things have effect on us more than we think. So sometimes you think you want, I don't know, a bust down watch or something, and you think, this is what I want. I'll do anything to have this. But would you actually want it if you never saw any celebrity have it, if you never heard a song about it, if you didn't know it existed, but you just happened to come across it in the store and you saw it and it just totally spoke to you, So you have to be mindful of these things, and you have to be in a place where you know thyself and are in a good alignment with yourself, because that can happen to anyone if you're not, in the right place.
A lot of times everything sounds cool in your mind, and then you get it, and then now what? If your dream is just to have, I want a Bentley so bad, that's all I want. But then you get one, and then, okay, I have it, so what? Exactly. I want a Rolex so bad. Then you get one. Okay. This is why I just wanted it, so people can look at me a certain way. I'm not even into horology at all. I just wanted people to look at it and say, oh, this is awesome. And I'm a cool guy. And then I'm walking around and people don't even notice it, or I get robbed for having it or something like that. So it's just a situation, like Kelly said, just knowing thyself and being in touch and in tune with who you truly are. And that'll really change your whole vibratory plane. It'll really change the stuff that's coming into your life, because then you'll start noticing and seeing, oh, hey, I like that. I actually thought I wouldn't like this, but I do like that. And that goes back full circle to everything that we were saying earlier, whenever we were saying, if you want to go look at a place, see a bunch of different places, because everything is regulating your vibratory plane, and you're able to see at your true frequency, what I want this. But you have to try it out. You have to look at it. There's plenty of stores you can go in and see a Rolex, even pawn shops, different places. You can go to car dealerships, drive this car, drive that car. There's so many different places that you can go to actually realize and think, would I want this truly or not? So once you put yourself in that place, in that reality of, hey, I do want this, or I don't want that, then it completely changes the game.
100%.
So, you don't have anything else to say on that? I can tell when Kelly's like, all right, I'm done.
That's about it from me on that for now. Right. Like I said, just imagine what you truly want. Push away. Okay, what do I want? If I could not F it up, and if nothing could go wrong, like sometimes we just have these crazy, and just saying that to yourself will open up.
And that's called catastrophizing.
What is that?
Catastrophizing.
What does that mean?
Whenever you think of the worst case scenario every time. I'm writing this self-love book, so all this information will be in there, because people need to know what they're doing and how to actually combat it. Because the more knowledge that you have, then you're able to combat it. If you have no knowledge, then you'll fail every time. But it's called catastrophizing, where people think of the worst case scenario every single time instead of thinking about the best case scenario. Like, why wouldn't you want to think about the best case scenario? Why would you be thinking, well, what if this happens? What if that happens? You should be reasonable and logical with yourself. I'm not saying you're going to move into a place and you have absolutely no money at all. I mean, it really depends on the frequency. If you're a high level being and you move into a place and you have no money at all and you just truly believe it and you know it, then I'm pretty sure you can manifest it, no problem at all. But you have to actually know it. But I'm not saying that you should do it. I think you should have money saved up before you do something like that. But, you know, it depends on your vibration. Everybody's different. But like I said, instead of thinking of the worst case scenario, you should be thinking of the best case scenario. Well, what if this happens? Instead of thinking, well, what if that happens? Think about what if this happens? Exactly. And live in that moment now. Feel that energy now and be excited and be so happy, because if you're walking around and you're complaining about money, oh, I'm so poor, I'm so broke, and you're saying that all day, every day, like a repetition, that's what you're going to attract. If you're walking around and you're saying, well, I'm not saying that I'm poor or broke, but then guess what? If a bill comes up and you're getting angry and you're yelling and you're mad and you have an attitude about it, then you're not acting like it. But if you want to attract money, imagine you actually won the lottery. Imagine a business deal came through that gave you $100 million after taxes. Really feel like what that would feel. Would you really be worried about the petty stuff? Would you really be worried about, well, what if this happened? What if that happened? I got $100 million in my account. I've never felt this alive in my entire life. And nothing is stopping you from feeling that feeling right now. There's nothing stopping you from feeling the feeling of having $100 million in your account right now. There's nothing stopping you from feeling like you're completely healthy in all aspects, in all realms of your body. There's nothing stopping you from feeling like you're the luckiest person in the world. There's nothing stopping you from feeling like you're the most intelligent person in the world. There's nothing stopping you from feeling like you're the most powerful individual in the world. You can truly curate your reality to whatever you want. You can live in your own world. And once you truly live in your own world and you act like it, then that's when it'll manifest. You can't walk around feeling like you're an executive and you're not wearing a suit. You're not wearing dress clothes. You're not dressed nice. Yeah. That's just not going to happen. You have to dress for the job you want. Because once you start putting yourself in that position and start acting like that way and doing that way, you become that person. That's how it works. You truly feel it, then you act it, and then you become it. You can't just think it in your mind. That's why when everyone sees The Secret, they think, oh, well, you're just thinking it and nothing is going to happen. You can't just think it. You have to do it too. Because we live in a physical realm, right? Yeah. So you have to actually do it, because that's the language of this earth. That's the language of living in the 3D. You have to actually pick stuff up. You actually have to get dressed, put on the clothes. Everything you do is always calculating your vibration. If you're walking around, you're working out, you're doing the things that are going to make you healthy, you're eating right. All of that's going to correlate to good health. If you're laying around, not doing anything, eating McDonald's every day, what do you think that's sending to the world? What do you think that's sending to your mind and your vibration? You have to think in that way.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the difference between a want and a desire, isn't it? A lot of people want a lot of things. They might see that bag in the window. Oh, I want that. I want to get that. But that's not a desire. When people desire something, there's automatically motivation and they automatically want to take the action to do it. I desire to be a high executive. I desire it. Every morning I have to get up and I'm so excited. I get up and I start applying to jobs and I'm buying suits and I just love walking around and feeling like I am one. That's the difference. Oh, I want to be a high executive. And you just go along with your regular life. That's a very big difference.
Like Kelly said, there's a difference between want and desire. Wanting something is, I want to have this. Desire is, I'm going to have it and nothing is going to stop me from getting it. No matter Those are very two different vibratory planes. Wanting something, I want this so bad and it's always out of reach, versus I'm going to get this because I have it now in my mind. So nothing can stop me from getting it now because I already have it in my mind. So nothing can stop me. Those are two very different vibratory planes. And once you can master that feeling and start truly feeling that desire, then nothing can stop you in that mind frame. You have to realize that. Those are two very different things. Don't let people tell you you have to want it. No, you have to desire it, because wanting it isn't good enough. You want everything. You always want. But how bad do you desire it? How bad do you truly think about it? How bad is that fire burning within you to get what you need, what you deserve? How bad is that fire burning within you that nothing is going to stop you no matter what? You'll die trying to get what you need to get. That's why 50 Cent had it, get rich or die trying, because he desired it so bad that he was willing to die for it. Are you willing to die for it? Then you don't desire it.
Yeah, and that's why attitude really is everything, because to me, you can throw everything else out the window. If you're meditating every day, journaling, doing what you think you're supposed to be doing, reading books, learning, listening to podcasts like this, but you have a bad attitude for the majority of your day, or even if you just are getting into one every day, honestly, you can throw the rest of that out the window, because the attitude has to come first, or it's going to block all of that. All of that can make a huge stride in your life, but attitude is absolutely number one, because it's your state of being. And your state of being is what you're propelling out. And there's nothing to bring back to you if you're having that kind of attitude. And you're looking at everything through that lens, and you're letting the smallest thing knock you off your vibration into the lowest that you can feel. So, meaning, when you have an attitude, a good attitude, an attitude of gratitude, you have to maintain that state so that no matter what anyone says, whatever happens, you're not going to get knocked off of it. And that's the same path of desire. People want something, but as soon as they look up how much it costs, they don't really want it anymore. They're changing their attitude about it. When you have a desire, you start making a plan. You start looking at how much you're spending. Okay, I can save this much a month. You're going to put a budget plan together. Okay, in this amount of months, I can buy the bag. Oh, I'm going to start a side hustle. I'm going to start doing this and that, because you want it, and nothing's going to knock you off of it, because it's a desire. It's not a want. It's a desire, almost that it's a need. It's like one step below, but a need is different, because a need has things where you have obligation. This isn't an obligation. This is just a high excitement for your soul to expand you. So it's different from a need, but it's almost feels like a need for your soul in a way.
Exactly. And people aren't going to want to work with you if you say that you want it, but you're not actually proving that you want it. Mm-hmm. So I'll work with someone if I can see that they have a desire. If I could see that they're a hard worker, if I see that they have some kind of momentum, or if I could just see that they're a genuine person. But if I see that you're lazy or disrespectful and you're not listening, I'm not going to work with you at all. So many people aren't working. They're not working hard enough, and they don't have an excuse. One of my friends, she's working 17 hours a day. Are you doing that? I mean, this is unreal. There's people out there that are actually working like that. And if you're actually working like that, then we can talk. Because you have a certain work ethic. Not everyone has that kind of work ethic. But then again, some people have that work ethic, but they'll work for someone else like that, but not themselves. And they just need a little bit of training. They need a little bit of guidance. But if you have that within you, then you have it within you. There's people out there, they don't want to move. They don't want to get up. They do a job real quick. Oh, my arms hurt. Oh, I'm hurting. I'm tired. It wasn't the right job. My other friend, he's working every single day. He's running like 5 miles a day at his job. Legs broken. He's going to the doctor for it. And he's still showing up to work. I mean, these are the kind of people I want around me that are hard workers, that have that mentality. I don't want people around me that are lazy. I don't want people around me that say they can't do it, that tell me everything they can't do.
And it's important to have people around you that you can keep it real with.
Exactly.
And not have to sugarcoat and step on their toes, because like we're saying, it could put them into a bad attitude. But if it's the truth and it's not being mean and you're generally saying something to help them, and especially people like us, and especially people like Han, because he's just so high vibrational that he just naturally wants everyone to become the best versions of themselves. And he knows what it actually takes to get there. It's not sugar and rainbows to get to the best version of yourself.
No, it's really not.
Deep dives, hard looks at yourself, and sometimes
And force.
being kind of mean to yourself, maybe, but not to yourself. But
yeah. But if you look at yourself
to
and
make
you say,
the old version die,
because people don't realize, if I look at myself and I say I'm fat, I'm lazy, I'm this, I'm that, I'm not saying that to myself to say, hey, guess what? I'm always going to be fat. I'm always going to be lazy. I'm always going to, be worthless or whatever it is. I'm saying it in the fact that all time is now. So I realize that every instant in time is a new opportunity window to change every single instant. So because I am fat now, I don't always have to be fat. Because I'm lazy now, I don't always have to be lazy. I can start working out right now. I could just get down and start doing push-ups right now. If I'm walking somewhere, I can start running. I could start doing squats. I could go to the gym. I could start making progress right now. And once you make that change, you are no longer that person. But some people need to look yourselves in the eyes and say, I am lazy. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And if you're not able to have that barometer where you can measure your own success and your own failures, then you're not going to be able to get better. So like I said, I don't want people around me that are telling me everything they can't do. I want someone around me that's telling me everything they can do and everything they will do. And they have the work to back it up. Because if you're saying, I can do this and I can do that, but you don't have the work ethic behind it, then you're just delusional. Then you have an ego that is failing you.
Arrogance. Arrogance is having an ego without anything to back it up.
But if you're saying, hey, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the best at making guided meditations. I've already made 400 guided meditations. I'm going to make the best podcast in the world. I'm dropping it every single week. I'm taking time out of my day to edit it hours every day. I'm posting the clips. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Then, okay, I can listen. But if you're saying I'm going to have the best podcast in the world and you haven't even started it yet, then who's going to listen to you? Mm-hmm. I mean, really think about what I just said. If you're saying you're going to have the best podcast in the world and you haven't started it yet, then who's going to listen to you? Literally.
Yeah, and the go-to excuse for everybody.
I don't have time.
Exactly, but that goes back to the whole desire thing.
If all time is now, then how do you not have time? Time is all there is.
I mean, here's my thing. Like, have you ever had a day that was so exhaustingly busy that you just did not have time to brush your teeth? Like, there was just no time. There's no way you could brush your teeth twice in a day. Oh, no. Way too busy for that. So that sounds absolutely ridiculous.
Have you ever had a day that was so busy that you couldn't even take a dump? You can't even
pee 6 times a day. Oh my gosh, that's unbelievable.
I mean, really think about it, man. There are people sitting on the toilet for 45 minutes trying to tell me they don't have time to do this and that. I mean, come on, man. Sometimes you just got to be real.
So, meaning to say, you wouldn't even question if you have enough time to brush your teeth. And sure, maybe it's 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes at night. Say 5 minutes. But if there's certain things that you're telling yourself you have no time for that would take 5 minutes that you're saying you have no time for.
Yeah.
Meditate every day.
Yeah.
Even take one, say you want to start a podcast. Okay, take 5 minutes to research what broadcasting platform you should put it on or what products you should buy.
I mean, people don't realize
you can do it.
When we started this podcast, if you're listening on Spotify, we have video as well. If you're listening on YouTube, then we have audio. I mean, obviously you're listening and watching, but watch on both if you want to be a real fan. But I had to actually plan every single thing out and learn everything from scratch about how to have the podcast. We have a monitor right here. So if you see us looking over here, we're like constantly checking to make sure everything looks good. Mm-hmm. But I had to figure out what program to use, what switch to use. How do I have multiple cameras? How do I sync everything up to the same device? We're going to be having tetrabytes of data by filming hours in 4K. How can we manage that? I built a computer for this. I have all of these inputs set up in this microphone and these devices. I figured out how to do all of this by myself. Nobody came and helped me. I did it all by myself. And when we first started, it sounded terrible. I'll probably look back at this and be like, that sounded so bad. And it's still not exactly where we want to be, but it's way better. And you're able to listen to it and actually enjoy it. But you have to realize, I could have gave myself that excuse. I could have said, guess what? I don't have time to be doing this. I got this going on. I got that going on. I don't give myself any excuses for anything. If I don't have what I want, it's because I was lazy, because I didn't do it, because I made the wrong decision, because God told me it's not my time yet. So I have to listen to what God says. And you have to think in that mindset and have that faith that everything is going to happen exactly how you want it to happen, in the perfect length and the perfect amount of time that it should happen.
Yep, exactly. If you truly desire to do something, you will find the time, period. Some of us just desire Netflix a little more than we desire whatever that thing is. Desire sleep a little more than whatever we desire that thing
Video
is.
games.
Yeah.
Donuts,
exactly.
eating out, going to restaurants, going to the club, drinking alcohol, spending money on this, spending money on that, blah, blah, blah. Name your vice, smoking weed, potheads, whatever you want. And I don't have any problem with any of that. Because I play video games. I've smoked before. I've drank before. There's nothing wrong with everything in a certain time frame.
Yeah.
So you just have to have a little bit of each. You can't just take everything at once and then just not make any kind of progress or have any accomplishments to show for it. You have to actually take your time, and you have to make a plan, and you have to implement that plan. And if you can't do that, then guess what? Someone's got to flip the burgers. Someone's got to work at McDonald's and Burger King. I'm serious. Someone's got to do it.
No, it's true.
So either you want to do it or you don't. Like, I'm trying to say it as motivation. There's nothing wrong if you want to live your life working at McDonald's. But if you're going to look me in my eyes and say, hey, this is my highest purpose, flipping burgers at a poisonous restaurant, then, hey.
Poisonous restaurant.
I mean, obviously I'm being facetious a bit, but, I don't eat McDonald's. So I'm superior to those that do. Now, if you want to, you can eat whatever you want, especially in moderation, like I said. But like I'm saying, you have to be real and honest with yourself. And we're all about elevating and helping people get to the next level. So,
yeah, especially this period of time on Earth. You may know it, you may not. But if you are here on Earth, you really wanted to be here for a great reason. You wanted to really expand yourself. You wanted to really expand the frequency of this Earth. It's a really critical time. So you came here for a way bigger purpose than you, even if you know you're here for a bigger purpose, it's still way bigger than you even realize.
Way bigger.
So you got to become the best version of yourself. That's literally why you came here.
Yeah.
So just do it. Just be all you can be all you can deserve. All those thoughts and all those ideas and all those desires are in your mind for a reason. Don't ignore them.
Act on them. Because that's your higher mind speaking and communicating with you.
Yeah.
And if you don't act on it, then it's going to stop the communication. And we talked about that in another podcast. But people need to hear it. If you get an idea, oh, I would love to do this, I'd love to do that, you have to act on that idea. Otherwise, the ideas will stop coming to you. But if you act on it and you take it as far as you can take it, then I guarantee you the next idea will come. Ooh, I could do that too. Ooh, yes. I got about 3 or 4 of them just in this podcast that I'm about to write down.
Yeah.
I'm already thinking these ideas are flowing and going because I'm in tune and I'm so in love with God. I'm so in love with everyone I come into contact with. I'm so in love with Kelly. I mean, I love her so much. She's done everything for me. I wouldn't be here without her. People have to realize that. That's why you need a tight circle of people that you can trust. If I can't trust you, you can't be in my life. You need a tight circle of people that are going to listen and hey, this is what we need to do. Okay, let's do it. Because our goal is to change the world.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody's goal should be. It's to change the world for the better and increase the vibration of everyone in the planet so that we can all be in a state of love and harmony and connection.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a huge thing where you start a podcast like us, but having a good vibration, a good attitude every day, you have no idea how much that can expand out just for the people around you. And then guess what? It's going to make them want to have a good attitude, and it's going to expand to their circle, and it's going to expand it more and more and more. You don't have to do these major things, but if it's all about you on the inside, if you do your inner work to be the absolute best version you can be, in just a regular state of being, going about your regular life, you will change the world.
Absolutely. And we're all here to change the world together. And we're so glad that you guys are here. New podcast every Friday, every single Friday. So thank you guys for being here. We'll see you in the next one. We love you.
Thank you so much. We love you. Let us know what you think about this one. See you in the next one.